Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Project video. This week's video is coming to us from Rickard in Sweden. Now, if I try to remember all the other videos that have come in a sequence, I think I've done 5 so far. So we had Andrew from Pennsylvania, we had Wally from Canada, we had Greg from Australia, we had Jamel from New York, and we had Christian from Romania. And now we're going to have one from Sweden. How cool is that? All right, let's take a look at Rickard's video.
Hi Barry. Hi gang. Greetings from Sweden. I'm Rickard. I have a 1969 Mach 1. Original 351 2-barrel Windsor automatic transmission, 9-inch rear end. It was originally candy apple red. Now it's sprayed in some metallic red. Quite nice color actually. And I'm gonna show you a little bit my project background. This winter I'm changing out the shock towers on both sides, and I'm also replacing the front and rear aprons on both sides. At some point this car, it's been in an accident. They drove it into the ditch, or they did something to it where the aprons on both sides have cracked up and collapsed inwards. The engine compartment, the mounts for the upper control arms, and they've been distorted and shifted inwards and then just welded back in this distorted position. So I could never properly align the front end of this car, and it's been looking not very nice. It's always felt like quite a big project, but thanks to Barry and your videos, I finally came to. I made the decision to pull through this and do this to my car, to once and for all fix it up nicely. And well, enough of me. I'll show you the car and the progress so far and my thoughts. I'll tell you my thoughts about moving forward. So here she is, my 1969 Mach 1. She looks a little sad at the moment, but I'm doing good progress, I think. So far I've cut off the both shock towers and front aprons and the upper part of the core support. It looks pretty good so far. This car is pretty much rust free. I am truly blessed with that for having a Mustang, I guess. It has some minor rust on the floor pans. The usual stuff. Both doors, unfortunately, I can show you here. In the lower corner has this. Oh yeah, you can see the bubbles there. This is the worst corner. I think it's bubbling in that corner too, and on the other side as well. And then there's some rust behind the rear wheel on the quarter there, the lower corner. But anyway, so far I've cut out the shock towers, and these are the new ones that I just loosely put in. And I took measurements before I cut off all the stuff here, but since everything was distorted and twisted, I'm not sure how much I can use them. I have factory diagrams. I have some measurements like on the framework, there are let's see, some cross measurements across, and then from like underneath to the floor supports measurements that I will double check. But I'll do all the measurements once I've cut everything off, so to make sure that the frame rails are straight and parallel, and then I'll build it from there. I'll use this export brace as my top fixture to get the correct measurement from the firewall, and also the correct measurement across. And I'll also use this Monte Carlo bar as a reference. And in the bottom there's actually, now you can see them, you have alignment holes, one there and one in the front, that aligns actually to the frame rails, and I'll use those, and together with the factory measurements that I have, and I think I'll be good. And I just threw this on very loosely today, the control arms, upper and lower control arms, and the spindle that I will use. And I took some measurements just to check that I have it at like 0 degrees caster and camber, and that I can adjust it from there, and it looks very good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And here I just put the shock tower that I cut out, and you can actually see here the pour. Well, actually the welds are pretty nice, but they didn't bother to try to push it back to where it should be. So unfortunately they've been very distorted and out of line. So I'm making progress, although slow, but still progress, and that's all thanks to you, Barry. Your videos have been very informative and been good watching them, so thanks for that. And once I'm done with this, oh yeah, another thing, I was saying here, I'm using the export brace, and then once I have the rear aprons cut off, I'll mock this all up again with the the shock towers and the new core support, and I'll mock it up in a way that I can actually hang the fenders and put on the hood, and make sure I get it right. So that'll be the way I will build this car. And I think, or actually I feel confident that it'll turn out great. It can't be any worse than it was before anyway. And once I'm done, I'm gonna put this pumpkin back in. It's a 351 Windsor. It's actually a 393 stroker built on a 351 Windsor. It has I run it with a 600 carb. Maybe that's a bit small, but I run it with 600 carb on an Edelbrock Performer RPM intake. Aluminum heads. I bought some Speedmaster aluminum heads. They work great actually. This engine is really strong. It pulls really hard. It's really nice. Smooth idle, but then it's very strong. And it's coupled to an FMX transmission. I really like these FMX transmissions. I had a catastrophic failure with this one, actually, where there's a thrust bearing for the output shaft, and yeah, the thrust bearing sits somewhere in here, and it's a needle bearing, and it's I had a failure with the bearing, and the needles in the bearing, they spread all through the internals of this transmission, and pretty much destroyed everything in it. There are planetary gears and yeah. So, but fortunately, I had a spare transmission. So this transmission is actually the original for this car, as far as I can see. So it's like the matching numbers transmission to the car. So I wanted to keep as much as I could. So I changed out a few things inside of it, all the drums and oil pump and stuff. And I also installed a shift kit from Transco. It has parts to improve one of the servos to be able to lock the bands stronger, and it also has like a spring kit to boost oil pressure to give very firm shifts. And as a funny side note, it's I am colorblind, and the springs in the kit that I bought, they were all color coded, so I couldn't get it together. Some of them were the same size but different colors. So fortunately, I have a daughter. She was 9 at that time, and she, her and me there, we put the valve body together, and we got it right. She runs really nice, this transmission. So I don't really have a time plan. I do this because I enjoy doing it. Hopefully I'll be done to the summer, but I'm not sure. I'll just see how things develop, and I'll do this on my spare time when I feel like it, and that's how I like to do it. I guess that's pretty much it. Well, thank you, Barry, for sharing this video, and thank you again for your videos. It's really your videos that made me come to this to the point where I started this project. Having lots of fun with it, actually, and I'm going back to a lot of your videos to check on stuff. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks and bye-bye.
Thank you, Rickard, for sharing that video. That's pretty cool. I know he and I have actually communicated on this project. He's had issues, and he's told me that there were problems with the front frame rails on this Mach 1 that he has. And like I said, we talked about it and went over some ideas, and I think he's got it going. You know, he's figured out a way to solve those problems. He's tackling it, and he's going to get it done. So pretty cool. I'm so glad that he's making progress on his car, and I know he's looking forward to getting it back on the road and driving it and enjoying it. Now, if you want to do a video or be featured on this channel for a viewer's project, and I have more coming, there are probably 3 or 4 more already lined up that will be on the channel. They get released on Sundays. But if you want to be part of this, send me an email, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. We'll communicate back and forth, and I use Dropbox, so I can probably send you a Dropbox request, and then you could submit doing it that way, or whatever works out. We'll figure it out. So if you're interested, contact me, and we'll go from there. So again, thanks to Rickard. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. So that's it, and until next time, take care of yourselves.